Hey everyone, this is Chase Beach with InsurGrid coming to you live Thursday, March 4th for another weekly fireside chat where we interview people in the insurance industry, agency owners, experts, all likes, and learn more about just the industry in general. And so today I'm joined by Jeremy Eden of Eden Insurance. Jeremy, thanks for jumping on.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So to start, Jeremy, would love to learn more about yourself and your agency and how long you've been in the business.
Okay, I started this agency in 2008. Before that, I was a farmer's agent for 4.5 years and pretty much started that right out of college. So even in college, I worked for Country Financial for a little while. So been in the industry basically 20 years now.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. Got it. And so you're tell us more about your agency. You're a property and casualty agency, personal lines, commercial. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so we're located in Central Illinois, Bloomington, Illinois specifically, home of a couple larger companies too. So that's always interesting on this end.
Yeah.
Um, we absolutely love it. We do a lot in personal lines right now. We're starting to diversify more in commercial. We have a decent amount of small group health insurance, dental, vision, stuff like that too. So just try to help clients in any way that they need, as long as we feel like we can do a good job on it. If not, then we obviously get somebody involved to make sure that we're doing right by our clients first.
Yeah. Awesome. And how big is your team? Are you a one-man band? Do you have a staff that supports you?
It's me, full-time CSR, and then one other part-time producer.
Awesome. So I didn't know that you've been in insurance all the way back to your college days at Country Financial. So that's quite 20 years. That's a good chunk of change.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it could even be that long at this point.
Yeah, yeah, that's wild. Thinking back when you first started in college at Country Financial, then going to Farmers, and now with your own independent agency. How is the evolution of the insurance agent and technology? Like, how has that evolved over time?
Oh, it's changed a lot. I mean, I obviously even 20 years ago, when I first started with Farmers, for example, they still had the green screen quoting for life insurance, which
Yeah.
was absolutely horrible.
Wait, tell me more about that. What's that?
So the really old computer systems that were a green screen and just very basic data entry stuff into it. That's how we quoted life insurance when I started with Farmers. So
Interesting.
and obviously today you can get the quote through somebody's website now. So definitely a huge change on that front. A lot of things have shifted away from, not away from, but people are more open to digital meetings, video proposals, and things like that you didn't do back then.
Yeah.
So we're always trying to keep up with the latest technology and just meet our clients where they are. If they're willing and ready to come in, awesome, we'll do that. If they would rather do a video chat, we can do that over the phone. We text message, we have picture message options. So pretty much anything that we can use to better connect with our clients or prospects.
Yeah. And how has marketing changed, from, when you first started out to today? How, what are the different marketing, strategies that you did way back when, and how that's progressed over time?
I still feel like, unfortunately, the message is still geared a lot towards price and always has been. But when I first started, it was definitely a lot more cold call and direct mail. And I feel like direct mail has become a lot more difficult. Direct cold calling definitely becomes more difficult. Now geared a lot more towards social media, Google ads, and more of the digital footprint.
Yeah. And in talking more about automation, I know that you do quite a bit. What are the different tools? What is your tech stack at the Eden Insurance Agency? What are the different softwares that you use to make your life easier?
So Applied Epic for the agency management system, and then we use Agency Revolution for our emailing program, and being able to reach out to clients, prospects, everything else. We use Neoteric at this point for video quote proposals. Obviously InsurGrid to be able to try to get people's deck pages on the prospect end. And we use voice over internet with Jive systems at this point, and to be able to do our text messaging, or text messaging, picture messaging, obviously phone calls, remotely be able to access our phone system if we can't physically be at the office, mobile apps on our phones if we're out and want to be able to make a phone call and have it show up from the office. And then OneDrive. Pretty much everything that we have is saved on OneDrive. So if I leave the office, I go home, hop on the laptop, everything that I've saved is there. So if I was working on a quote, it's saved there. I can pull it from home and send it off to somebody or pull it up to talk to them about it. So everything is working as well together as we possibly can on that front.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. As far as the consumer, how do you think, insurance consumers have changed over time? And, what are the different, sources of business that you've been using and leveraging as of late?
So I feel like clients have been a lot more open to your electronic signatures, DocuSign, whatever. We use DocuSign because that's another piece of software I forgot to mention. I feel like a lot more people are open to that. The video proposal services, we've had some success with that, with people just being like, hey, that's really cool, and just something that not everybody utilizes. As far as finding people, like I said, just a lot of it's word of mouth, reaching out to clients through that emailing program, just asking for referrals, asking how we're doing, surveying them every so often to make sure that we're keeping up with our existing clients and not just focusing on prospects, because obviously if they're all flowing out the back door, that doesn't really help us too much. So, and then a lot of social media, reaching out to realtors and stuff like that, doing some ad campaigns that specifically go to real estate agents or mortgage people locally, and just trying to reach people digitally is pretty much what we focus on at this point.
Yeah. We talk to a lot of insurance agents every day. And one thing that I get, questions from agents a lot is, how do I develop relationships with real estate agents and or mortgage brokers? And so for the agents who be, watching this video, what would you say to them? Should you focus on real estate agents? Should you focus on loan officers, mortgage brokers? And how should you go about interacting with them?
So I would say focus on both. You never know if they're going to start the real estate agent, if they're going to start with the mortgage broker. When they eventually get to the point of putting an offer and trying to find an agent, you don't know if that's referrals coming from which one it's going to come from. And really where we try to focus on is we're not necessarily always going to have a ton of leads that are going to flow back to them. What we try to focus on is making sure their clients are very well taken care of. They're making a huge purchase, and we're going to properly insure that so that they don't come back later and be like, why'd you set me up with that guy who underinsured my house and now I have to get a second mortgage to rebuild my house?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that's where a really good agent can set themselves apart is making sure that the house is properly insured and not play the games of underinsuring the house or carrying higher deductibles just to show a lower rate. If that's what the client wants, that's great. But trying to sneak it through just to show a better rate and focusing only on the rate ultimately just hurts the client in the long term.
Right. Proper coverage over price.
Yep. Yeah. Well, obviously, we didn't go independent to not be able to do what the best we can on price. But yeah, if you're not insuring it properly in the first place, they're just going to have a bad experience.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you're unique in the industry in that you've lived both in the captive world and the independent world. And I'm just curious, not to downplay one or the other, but like, what are the differences that you've seen in both?
So really on the captive side, obviously there's a lot of corporate advertising and stuff. So people recognize the company a little bit better. And so sometimes your phones will ring a little bit more because of that. But on the independent side, having access to multiple different companies and not running into that situation where you're having to put somebody in a situation. If they want water backup coverage at a certain amount, I'll find a company that can do that. If they want service line coverage, I will find a company that can do that. But if I was captive before and that option wasn't offered, I can't offer it. If rates change over time, I can look at other options for people and try to keep them as a client instead of having to basically say, well, we can raise your deductible, but that's pretty much all we can do. And just when clients have those weird life cycle things, whether they have an oops that suddenly they're not eligible at their current company, you don't have to send them out the door. You can look for another option for them and kind of guide them on here's our game plan for the long haul to when this is going to come off and when we can move you back to a preferred company. Or here's the work you need to do to your house, or if you start working on your credit, you're going to see better rates. We can work with them knowing that we have multiple companies. So right now, this company is good because you just have average credit. Now this company is a lot better because you have really good credit. This company's looking okay now because you have a particular issue going on with your house or claims history or whatever. Once this clears off, here's some options that'll probably look better. So let's focus on keeping this clean so that we can move you to another company. So I feel like you can do a lot more consultative setup when you're independent because you have those options and it's not just here's how things are done.
Right, right. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, definitely pros and cons to both. And Jeremy, I did want to like kind of retouch on the whole real estate mortgage loan officer. So it seems like you want to kind of throw your lines out to both. And how do you go about developing your relationships with these different referral partners? Do you just reach out to them? How have you gone about doing that?
Yeah, I try to keep in contact whenever I can. Obviously, the biggest thing for us is just making sure we take care of people when they do come our way. Because ultimately, if they're going to trust us with their client, we're going to make sure that we follow up with them, that we get all of our ducks in a row, that we have all the paperwork ready for closing when the mortgage person needs it, that they have as smooth of a process as possible because they're going to be going through a lot of stress when they're buying a new house or upgrading their house, whatever the case may be, whether it's first-time home buyer or somebody upgrading. You've got all the inspections and appraisals and everything else that's going on with it, plus a bunch of numbers thrown at you, plus tons of stuff you have to submit to the mortgage person so that you can get qualified to make sure the loan goes through. Working with your real estate agent if any issues come up on any of those inspections and appraisals. And the last thing we need to do is add extra stress on it by not covering enough information up front and having a pretty solidified quote when we first work with them.
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense. All about the service and differentiating yourself in the process. So awesome. Well, Jeremy, thank you so much for the time, and really appreciate you talking, about your agency and your career in the insurance space. And I think there's a lot of really good information for people out there. So we're going to be back next week with another InsurGrid fireside chat. But for now, thanks again for tuning in, and we'll be talking with you again next week. Thanks, Jeremy.
Thank you.